Welcome to It's English Podcast, where English feels easy, calm, and natural.
Hey everyone, welcome back to It's English Podcast. I'm Brian and I'm super excited to be here today. How are you all doing out there?
And I'm Mary. It's wonderful to have you with us again. Brian, you seem especially energetic today.
Well, Mary, today's topic is really close to my heart. We're talking about romantic dates. I mean, who doesn't love talking about romance, right?
True. And it's such a universal experience, isn't it? Whether you're going on your first date or you've been with someone for years, dates are special. They can be exciting, nerve-wracking, fun, sometimes all at the same time.
Oh man, nerve-wracking is right. I remember my first date ever. I was probably about 16 years old. I showed up at this girl's house with flowers, and my hands were shaking so much that I dropped them on her doorstep.
Oh no, but that's actually really sweet. The nervousness shows you cared. What happened next?
Well, she laughed, which made me feel both embarrassed and relieved at the same time. She helped me pick them up, and we actually had a great time at the movies. But yeah, those first date jitters are real.
They definitely are. And you know what? That's exactly why we wanted to talk about this today. So many of our listeners tell us they feel nervous or unsure when planning or going on romantic dates. So today, we're going to share some practical tips, personal stories, and hopefully help you feel more confident about the whole experience.
Exactly. Whether you're planning your first date, trying to keep the romance alive in a long-term relationship, or just curious about dating culture, we've got you covered. Ready, Mary?
Absolutely. Let's dive in. Tip 1. Choose the right atmosphere for connection. So the first thing we want to talk about is choosing the right atmosphere. And I don't just mean picking a fancy restaurant or a cool location. I mean thinking about what kind of environment will help you and your date actually connect.
That's a great point. So what do you mean by atmosphere exactly?
Think of atmosphere like the mood of a place. It includes the lighting, the noise level, how crowded it is, the type of music playing, even how the furniture is arranged. All of these things affect how comfortable you feel and how easy it is to have a genuine conversation.
Ah, I see. So, like if you go to a really loud concert for a first date, you might not be able to talk much.
Exactly. A concert can be amazing if you already know someone well and you're both into that band. But for a first date, you want somewhere you can actually hear each other. I always recommend places where you can have a real conversation. A cozy cafe, a quiet park, a small art gallery, or even a cooking class where you can work together.
Oh, that reminds me of something I did once. I took someone to this pottery class for a first date. We made these really ugly mugs together, but we laughed so much. And the best part was that we were doing something with our hands, so it took away some of the pressure of constant eye contact.
That's brilliant. See, you naturally understood the concept. When you do an activity together, it gives you something to talk about and takes away the awkwardness of just staring at each other across a table. Plus, it shows you're thoughtful and creative.
So, for our listeners, think about what you want from your date. If your goal is to really get to know someone, avoid super loud or distracting places. Choose somewhere that makes conversation easy and comfortable.
Tip 2. Be genuine, not perfect. Now, our second tip is something I wish someone had told me when I was younger. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be genuine.
Ooh, this is important. Can you explain the difference?
Sure. When I say genuine, I mean being yourself, your real self, not some polished version you think the other person wants to see. People can sense when you're being fake or trying too hard to impress them. It actually pushes them away rather than drawing them closer.
Yeah, I learned this the hard way. I once went on a date with someone and I was so nervous that I pretended to be interested in things I didn't actually care about. She mentioned she loved hiking and I was like, oh yeah, me too. But I hate hiking. I'm more of an indoor person who enjoys video games and movies.
Let me guess, she suggested going on a hike for the next date.
Exactly. And I had to either admit I lied or go on this awful hike where I was miserable the whole time. It was terrible. The relationship didn't last because it was built on me pretending to be someone I'm not.
And that's such a common mistake. Here's the thing, everyone. If someone doesn't like the real you, they're not the right person for you anyway. Wouldn't you rather find that out on the first date than 6 months down the line?
Absolutely. Being genuine also means it's okay to be a little nervous. You don't have to hide it. In fact, admitting you're nervous can actually be charming. It shows you care about making a good impression.
Right. And here's a little secret. Your date is probably nervous too. When you're honest about your feelings, it often helps the other person relax as well. It creates this atmosphere of openness and trust from the very beginning.
So remember, friends, be yourself. Share your real interests, your real opinions, your real sense of humor. The chemistry between two people happens when both people are being authentic.
Tip 3. Ask thoughtful questions and really listen.
Our third tip is about conversation, and this is crucial. Ask thoughtful questions and actually listen to the answers.
What do you mean by thoughtful questions? Like, what's wrong with just asking, what do you do for work?
There's nothing wrong with that question, but it's pretty basic, right? Everyone asks it. Thoughtful questions go deeper. They show you're genuinely interested in understanding who this person is, not just checking boxes on a list.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Instead of what do, you could ask what got you interested in your field? Or what's the most interesting project you've worked on lately? Instead of do you have hobbies, try what do you do when you want to forget about everything else? These kinds of questions invite stories, not just facts.
Oh, I love that. And you mentioned listening too. That's equally important, right?
Maybe even more important. Here's what I mean by really listening. Put your phone away completely. Look at your date when they're talking. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. Actually pay attention to what they're saying and ask follow-up questions based on their answers.
You know, I went on a date once where the person kept checking their phone. Every few minutes, buzz buzz, and they'd look down. It made me feel like I wasn't interesting enough to hold their attention. The date didn't go well, needless to say.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. When someone feels truly heard, it creates a powerful connection. Think about a time when someone really listened to you. How did it make you feel?
Special. Valued. Like what I had to say actually mattered.
Exactly. That's the feeling you want to give your date. And here's a bonus tip. Remember small details they mention and bring them up later. If they mention their sister is a teacher, you can ask about her later. It shows you were paying attention.
That's such good advice. Real conversation is like a dance. You take turns, you respond to what the other person does, and you stay present in the moment.
Tip 4, plan something thoughtful, not just expensive.
All right, tip number 4. And this one's close to my heart because I think there's a big misconception about dates needing to be expensive to be impressive.
Oh, absolutely. I'd take a thoughtful picnic in the park over a fancy restaurant any day if the person put real thought into it.
Exactly. Thoughtfulness means you paid attention to what the person likes. Maybe they mentioned they love a certain type of food, or they're interested in photography, or they collect old vinyl records. Use that information.
I'll share a personal example. One of the most memorable dates I ever had was when someone took me to a small bookstore that specialized in poetry. They knew I loved poetry, and they'd even called ahead to make sure they had a book by my favorite poet. We spent the afternoon reading passages to each other in the cafe upstairs. It probably cost less than $30, but it meant everything because it was so personal.
Wow, that's beautiful. See, that's what thoughtful looks like. It's not about how much money you spend. It's about showing that you see the other person, that you understand what makes them unique.
Let me give our listeners some practical ideas. If your date loves nature, plan a sunset hike with their favorite snacks. If you're into art, visit a free gallery and then grab coffee to discuss what you saw. If they mentioned loving a certain cuisine, find a small, authentic restaurant restaurant that serves it.
Or if they love music, make them a playlist for the drive. Or if they're learning a language, take them to a cultural event related to that country. The possibilities are endless when you're creative.
And here's the important part. If you can't afford something expensive, don't stress about it. The right person won't care. What matters is the effort and the thought behind it. A homemade dinner can be more romantic than the fanciest restaurant if it's made with care.
So, listeners, remember, money can buy a nice meal, but it can't buy a genuine connection. That comes from thoughtfulness, attention, and showing someone you really see them.
Our final tip is about something everyone experiences but nobody likes to talk about, those awkward moments and nervous feelings that come up on dates.
Oh, good, we're talking about this. Because let me tell you, I've had my share of awkward date moments. Like the time I accidentally called someone by my ex's name.
Oh no, what did you do?
Well, first I turned bright red, then I immediately apologized and made a joke about it. I said something like, "Wow, I'm really smooth, aren't I? I promise my brain is usually better than this." And you know what? She laughed, and we moved past it.
And that's exactly the right approach. When something awkward happens, acknowledge it, laugh at yourself if appropriate, and move on. Don't let it ruin the whole date by dwelling on it.
What about general nervousness, though? Like before the date even starts?
Pre-date jitters. They're so common. Here's what I tell people. First, remember that being nervous means you care, and that's a good thing. Second, try to reframe your nervousness as excitement. The physical sensations are actually quite similar. Butterflies in your stomach, increased heart rate. Your body is just getting ready for something important.
I like to do some deep breathing before a date. Just 5 minutes of slow, deep breaths really helps calm my nervous system. Also, I remind myself that the other person is probably nervous too, which makes me feel less alone in it.
Those are great techniques. I'd also say don't put too much pressure on any single date. It's not a job interview and it's not a performance. It's just two people spending time together to see if they enjoy each other's company. That's it. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean you failed. It just means you weren't compatible. And that's okay.
Yes. And if there's an awkward silence during the date, it's not the end of the world. You can comment on it with humor, like, "Well, that was a nice, peaceful moment." Or you can have a few conversation topics in your back pocket ready to go.
And remember, everyone has awkward moments. What separates a good date from a bad one isn't whether awkward things happen, it's how you handle them together. If you can laugh together at the weird stuff, that's actually a sign of good chemistry.
Perfect advice to end on. So, listeners, those are our 5 main tips for great romantic dates. Choose the right atmosphere, be genuine rather than perfect, ask thoughtful questions and really listen. Plan something thoughtful instead of just expensive, and handle nerves and awkward moments with grace. Now, before we wrap up, let's do our vocabulary section. We used some interesting words and phrases today that might be useful for our English learners.
Great. Let's go through them one by one. Atmosphere.
Atmosphere. This means the mood or feeling of a place. We say the atmosphere was romantic, or the restaurant had a cozy atmosphere. Example, the candlelight created a romantic atmosphere in the restaurant.
Genuine. Genuine means real, authentic, sincere. When we say be genuine, we mean be your true self. Example, I could tell her smile was genuine because it reached her eyes.
Chemistry. Chemistry is that special connection between two people. It's hard to define, but you know it when you feel it. Example, they had such great chemistry. They were finishing each other's sentences.
Thoughtful. Thoughtful means showing care and consideration for others. When you're thoughtful, you think about what will make someone else happy. Example, it was so thoughtful of him to remember my favorite flowers.
Jitters. Jitters means nervous feelings. We often say first date jitters or I have the jitters. Example, I always get the jitters before an important meeting.
Impression. An impression is the feeling or opinion you have about someone or something. We want to make a good impression on a first date. Example, she made a great impression on my parents when they met her.
Connection. Connection means a feeling of closeness or understanding between people. A strong connection is important in relationships. Example, we felt an instant connection when we started talking about our shared love of music.
Awkward. Awkward means uncomfortable or embarrassing. An awkward silence, an awkward moment. We've all had them. Example, there was an awkward pause when I forgot her name.
Memorable. Memorable means worth remembering, unforgettable. A memorable date is one you'll think about for a long time. Example, our first date was so memorable. We talked for hours and didn't even notice the restaurant closing.
Butterflies in your stomach. This is a fun idiom. Butterflies in your stomach means that nervous, fluttery feeling you get when you're excited or anxious. Example, I always get the butterflies in my stomach before seeing someone I really like.
To hit it off. To hit it off means to immediately get along well with someone. Example, my friend and I hit it off right away. It felt like we'd known each other for years.
To break the ice. To break the ice means to make people feel more comfortable in a social situation, especially at the beginning. Example, I told a funny story to break the ice when we first sat down.
Well, Brian, we've covered a lot of ground today. From choosing the right atmosphere to handling those nervous butterflies, I think we've given our listeners some really useful advice.
Absolutely. And you know what the main message is? Dating doesn't have to be scary or perfect. It's about two people getting to know each other and having a good time together.
Exactly. The best dates are the ones where you can be yourself and enjoy the moment, rather than worrying about doing everything right.
Now, before we go, we have a question for all of you listening. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Here's our question. What's the most memorable date you've ever been on? And what made it special?
It could be a first date, an anniversary, or just a random Tuesday evening that turned out to be magical. We want to hear your stories. Share them in the comments, send us a message, or post on social media with the hashtag #It'sEnglishPodcast.
And who knows, we might share some of your stories in a future episode. We love hearing from our community.
And remember, if you're planning a date soon, don't stress too much. Just be yourself, be thoughtful, and focus on having a good time. The rest will follow naturally.
Whether you're going on your first date or your 1,000th, every date is an opportunity to create a special memory. So go out there and make it count.
Thanks so much for listening to It's English Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends.
Until next time, keep practicing your English, keep connecting with people, and most importantly, keep being your authentic self.
See you next time, everyone.
Bye for now.